Hey Josh, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're well. Just about to light up this La Gloria Cubana in Mensos, which is a La Casa del Habano from 2012. It's got a beautiful aroma on the wrapper, nice and oily. Should be a good smoke. Yeah, I'm doing very well. We're right in the middle of festival at the moment, Festival of Sukkot, Tabernacles. So we're off work, and we've had for about a week or so my daughter and new son-in-law stayed with us in the room we did up, and they've gone to his parents now for a bit, and so the house is kind of back to normal. Hey Tree, how you doing? Did Alethea send you that stuff yet? I sent her your details. Oh, I'll have to hit her up again. Sorry about that. Oh, I was just going to do a V-cut, a two-way V-cut, and I just remembered the V-cut is in the car. So I'll just go for a straight cut. Where's my cutter? Ay, 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 ay. As you can tell, I'm really well prepared tonight. Oh, there it is, lurking by my screen. You guys seen Anna and Martin's video? The peaches. Hi Maui, long time no see, welcome back. You're going to Cornell and Deal for a tour next week? Wow, that's awesome. Perhaps you could put a video up, that would be awesome to see the insides. Yeah, the peaches, they moved to a new place some months ago, and it seems like it's the house from hell. Hey Art, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Basically, they've got the neighbours from hell in this new property that they're at. They've only been there a few months, and they're going through hell. Harassment and intimidation. Really the worst kind of thing you'd want to experience. Interesting, look at that. Can you see that little crack that's forming on the foot? See that little tear in the wrapper just there? That tells me that my Humidor is just a tad on the dry side. Truth be told, it's actually as it should be, because these particular cigars, I don't smoke them all the time. I've only got a few, and they're from 2012, and they're quite a rare cigar. So I put them down in my long-term Humidor, and that one I keep at a low humidity. which is supposed to be better for aging. And I keep the stuff that I smoke more regularly in a different humidor at a higher humidity, which should be better. But anyway, that's probably why it's cracked a little bit. Hey Brian, how are you? I'm doing very well. Oh wow. You're a lucky man, Murray. You're a lucky man. I'm not yet on real high grades, although I've got some nice pipes. But I haven't really got any, besides for some of the Paul Menard pipes, which are stunning and they are custom made, so those are Artisan pipes. Yeah, definitely a great customer if he's giving you some free Christmas cheer. Yeah, so I've got still a couple of Paul Menard's pipes, which I'm sure you've seen before. See if I can get my hands on them. This is this one I'm really tempted to send back to him to get it converted. It's probably my most beautiful pipe that I've got, but I haven't smoked it yet. I've had it for a good while now. Probably had it for a couple of years, maybe 18 months. It's got everything going for it. It's got beautiful shape, beautiful grain. It's got a nice bird's eye on the base, some nice structure, beautiful stem. Everything's right on this. Hi, Jeff, how you doing? So this was one of his high grades which I bought from him direct, but I haven't smoked. I'm just nervous sending it back to the States to get it converted, and I don't know what I might do, which would also be a shame. But what? Because he's got a Teflon tenon in there, which would mean drilling that out and inserting a 9mm peg and then drilling this. It's actually not that complicated, but because it's such a high grade pipe, I'm just nervous. And I'm nervous if this went back to the States, got lost along the way, or something would happen to it. I'm just nervous. So at the moment it's just sitting, and I really would like to use this pipe. You know, some of the high grade pipes that I've got I don't use, and they're just sitting, you know, as a collector might do. You've got a 9mm bang, wow. Well, maybe you'll have to send it to me there, Maui, if you don't want to use it as a 9mm. I mean, that's just not right. You're not allowing it to be. Smashing Artful. This is the other one, which I don't smoke either. Also a very, very nice pipe from Paul Menard. Beautiful grain, as you'd expect. Beautiful grain. Really stunning grain all around. Get some light on it. Pipes, etc. in the house. Anyway, so this one I probably can't get converted without taking a big risk, because not only has this got a Teflon tenon, but it's got a Teflon mortise, which has been drilled in to the shank. So getting that out and that would not work. So ultimately, this one, I've either got to decide to smoke as is and suffer the possibility of tongue bite, or I've got to pass it on. See you in a minute, Jeff. Yeah, so I was watching the Peaches video. Very distressing, really. I really felt for them. I gave them a call not long ago. Had a chat with them about it. So, you know, when you're in a situation where you know right is on your side, this cigar's good, and you just can't get the support you need to hi Harriet, and you just can't get the support you need to back up. That is an Inmensos, yes, Phil. Are you familiar? Yeah, Quaker's in the house. Yeah, I saw your comment there, but you know, does it really help? You know, meeting violence with violence or intimidation? You're kind of stooping down to their level. I don't know. I don't think that's the answer. I mean, she was saying, Anna was saying that in America it would be dealt with by the police, and you'd expect that would happen here, but the police have become so benign here, and they just don't have the time, the resources. The infrastructure in this country is so vastly different to the States. For the most part, I'm not saying all the time, but for the most part, the police and the army, the forces of any nature in the US are so well regarded, are so well respected. It's almost like a religion in the States. Whereas here, it's just, for some reason, coming from our history, you know, our armed forces and our police and the infrastructure in the country should be on so much of a higher pedestal, and for some reason it's not. That's just broken down. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's liberalism, or if it's the, you know, political correctness gone ridiculously bad. But I could just imagine in a situation like this in America, if somebody called the police, you'd have the police knocking on the door of those people and telling them, you know, telling them what's what, arresting them possibly, and certainly making sure that these people feel safe. And here in the UK, you just don't feel that way. We've gone through our fair share of, you know, police brutality cases and controversial controversial episodes, if you like. Hi, Jeff. But still, I'll be honest, in my own personal life, the experiences that I've had with the police have been, I've had a mixed kind of experience. I mean, I haven't had anything to do with the police in terms of criminal activity or anything like that, thank God, but I have been involved in some cases in various areas of public life that I've served in the past. And well, I'll give you one example. I'll give you an example. And to be honest, that could happen anywhere in the world, in the US as well. But well, Quaker, nobody likes it, but people are people just speak the truth. People are not making it up. And whilst nobody likes to speak bad about their own country, sometimes your voice has to be heard. You know. So I had a situation once where I was working in an office. It must be going back about 20 years. I was working in an office. The office was located in a residential street on the first floor of a residential house. Oh, I see what you're saying, Quaker. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, absolutely. If I was dissing the American police without knowing much about them, that would be a little bit, unreasonable. I hear that. Yeah. I'm not going to say that the English police are not good. The fact that they still, for the most part, police the country without any firearms is still pretty good. And I think people want it to stay that way. There's certainly the need for firearms in certain situations. We've obviously had our fair share of terrorism, and continue to be under threat all the time. So obviously there has to be firearms. But the fact that the average bobby, well, I say the average bobby because that virtually doesn't exist anymore, the bobby on the street. But still, I mean, as an institution, generally speaking, yeah, I think people do respect the police. But they haven't made it easy for themselves. Hi, Morgan. So just to carry on with that little story, I was working in this office on the first floor of a house, and I heard a woman screaming. So I look out the window, and I see a youth mugging a woman in the street, running off with her handbag. I ran downstairs, and I had a colleague in the office as well, and we gave chase. The guy ran off. I got in my car, was parked outside, chased after the guy. The guy was dumping stuff as we chased after him. He didn't want to get caught with the stuff red-handed. And as he was running, I managed to cut him off with the car. We grabbed hold of him and pinned him down, called the police, and he was arrested. Now, just as an aside, this poor lady had come for a week from another country for her son's wedding. Never been to England before, and was in England just for a week, and just her luck, she had to get mugged in broad daylight, in a normal residential, decent area. I just felt very sorry for her. But in any event, we got the guy. He was arrested, and he must have pled not guilty, because it did go to court. But the point I want to make is that when we got to the station after they arrested him, they wanted to take statements from the people who were involved in the chase. And at the time, so they sat me in an office, and they were asking me to give a description of the guy. And to be very honest with you, I was giving chase to the guy, and I really didn't notice it. They asked me what was he wearing and how tall was he and how old was he. Okay, how old he was, I realised because we were holding him, but I didn't remember. They say, was he wearing jeans, blue shirt, all that kind of stuff, and I didn't remember, or at least I didn't take note of it at the time. And they were coaching me throughout. It was this colour, wasn't it? Or he was wearing that, wasn't he? And I understand that. Everybody knew in this case that we got the guy because we chased him from the moment he mugged the woman right down till the minute we nabbed him and held him to the ground. So there was no question that it was the right guy. So, there was no issue here of bending the truth. But if you're going to stick to, I don't know, actually, it's a double-edged sword. If you start getting into, justifying yourself for sort of moving a case along, that you know is 100% banked to rights that this guy was the mugger, but you help somebody along just to dot the I's and cross the T's. You know, if you're going to let that by, then that copper is going to feel comfortable doing that, perhaps in another case when it's not so clear cut. Anyway, at the end of it, it was okay, because we came to court. I think it was months later. We came to court, and the minute he saw us all turning up, the defendant, he saw that he was in trouble. He must have thought, his defence must have thought that nobody's going to turn up for this sort of low-level crime, as it was possibly considered. But the minute they saw us, he saw he was, not going to stand a chance, so he pled guilty. And he got whatever sentence he got. I've got no idea what he got. We weren't needed, and we went home. But it's just to say that the greater good was served. Yeah, of course, that's Maui 100%. But I just worry about the fact that the police were prepared to do that. What I would say is that the police don't do themselves any favours. And a lot of it is political as well. It's not the average policeman himself. But the police themselves, they are quite arrogant in my experience. I remember as a kid, I was only, I don't know, maybe I was 10, 11, and there was a police car on our street. And some other kids had messed around. They were trying to start a fight. So we saw this police car there, so we went up to the police car to tell them. And the policeman, he didn't even listen to what we were saying. He just told us straight off to F off. And that was it. So what kind of impression do you get? What kind of impression does a kid, a 10 or 11-year-old kid, who's trying to do the right thing and not trying to get involved in a fight, and saying, look, those guys down there are trying to fight with us. And that's what you want from your bobby on the street. You want to have that security, that you could, a friendly face that you could feel safe with. And it's become a situation where the police are, in I think the average person's experience, are just arrogant. And I think that's where it's gone downhill with the British police. Hey Eric, how you doing? Maui, that's all well and good. Of course, in our own standards of life, how we conduct ourselves throughout our life, what's inside our heart, ultimately that's always going to be the big guy upstairs, as you put it. But we have to live by certain standards on this earth, in a transparent way which people can feel confident with and comfortable with. The stabbings is just the culture that's going on with gangs here. Thankfully, I don't know much about that. Art. Actually, I've been meaning to ask you. I had one of these cigars the other day. I had them in my non-Cuban humidor, and they were giving off an aromatic aroma. When I put my nose, I've taken them out now, and I've got the Vida bag in there to keep them humidified. But something in here is smelling very sweet, almost like a berry or a cherry or a strawberry or a raspberry. There's a very sweet, sort of almost like blood red moon kind of aroma coming from this bag. Art, can you shed any light on that? Judges, Cave and Brava. Is Judges the brand and Cave and Brava the name of each of the cigars? Breva cigars. Actually, if either of you do speak to Rick at Bryville, would you mind asking him if he does conversions to 9mm? I've been meaning to ask him that for a while. I've got you think he does? Eric, if you wouldn't mind, just confirm that with him, because although till now I've been doing my conversions with Ian, thanks Eric, with Northern Briars, he's a very busy guy. He's got some of my pipes, he's already had them for months now, and that's fine. I'm, no sweat. He's busy and I'm patient. I've got plenty of pipes to smoke, but if there's somebody out there who I can get them done more swiftly, even if it's across the pond, and it takes a week's travel either side, but if they're done, I don't know what kind of sort of turnaround time he's got, but if they're done within, say, 2 or 3 weeks, that's absolutely fine with me. How long did your Peterson take, Eric? I'll have to look up Sergeant Savinelli's video on that. There's definitely some kind of aromatics in there. 2 weeks, that's cool. That's absolutely fine. I've got to speak to... I've also got to speak to Mike Billington from Blakemar, because I know he does it as well. But the last time I spoke to him, I might have been in touch with Cane Rod, and he may have said no. I don't remember. I don't remember. Obviously, if I can get them done here in the UK, it makes sense to do that. Who's that, Eric? Cane Rod you're talking about? Yeah, see, a lot of the American carvers are not geared up for 9mm. I spoke to... you guys heard of Dr. Bob Pipes? Oh, Mike Billington? I don't know, could be. I don't know, I hadn't heard that he wasn't well. I think there was a meet-up there recently at the Pipe Club of London, so I don't know. Well, for the most part, I've had a reasonable success rate with conversions. The only one that I had a problem with was a Paul Menard pipe, which I was a little bit gutted by. I have mentioned this before. This is a Paul Menard pipe. It had a beautiful stem on it originally, and it didn't have this silver ferrule on it. But I don't know if you can see this. See that line there? Just there. That cracked when he was drilling for 9mm. And so he's had to put the ferrule on it to repair it. And then he's put this stem on it, which was nowhere near as nice as the previous stem. But for the most part, Ian's done a good job with the conversions. Did a great job on, well, he did this Parker as well, and Art did a video about having problems with, if you have a look there, you can see a bit of, let me just get a torch on. If you have a look there, you see that daylight there, so that's got a filter in there at the moment, and that's one of my pipes which, when you put a filter in, it doesn't meet because it hasn't been drilled deep enough. But otherwise, for the most part, Ian's done a cracking job. Did a great job on the Northern Brights Quebec, which is one of his pipes. So this one he's done a great job on. It smokes beautifully as 9mm. He also converted this this one here. That's a Fabrizio Natalizia. Well, I think we've all seen Art's generosity. You remember when I did that Danny Shaw sale? Art's generosity there was also pretty legendary. So, you're a good guy, Art. And you've got a seriously fun looking den or office where you work from. It looks like you're quite a collector of different and varied things. Actually, I'm surprised to say that it was pretty good. It's something I could see myself smoking reasonably regularly. The Breva cigar, it was tasty. And you know, some of the when you're used to, I don't want to diss non-Cuban cigars, but when you're used to Cuban cigars, when you move over to non-Cubans, they all have this certain brashness to them. But this one, you know, these were pretty good, especially for machine-made cigars. I'm sure they were enhanced by whatever infusion is in there to give it the flavors, but I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. I smoked one of the Maduro ones, the darker ones. That, yeah, absolutely, Art. So this is what Art sent me, amongst other things. It looks like he sent me 3 of each. So I've had the Maduro one. You can see the difference in colour there. Yeah, so when I smell the foot of that cigar, it's got a definite aromatic aroma. So 1 second, which one did I smoke then? I must have smoked the lighter one. Unless you sent me 4 of those and 2 of those, I don't remember. I'd have to look back at the original video that I did. So are they, Art, are they aromatic? Have I got that right? Are they both aromatic? And which one's the Breva? Right, am I pronouncing it right, or was it Breva? Is it pronounced as in B-R-E-E-V-A or Breva? B-R-E-V-A. Right, okay, so these are the Maduros. And these are called what? The lighter ones, what are they called? Because I couldn't find anything online about them, but I will have a look at Sergeant Savinelli's. Breva, okay. So that's the Breva, and these are called Judges? Judges Cave, is that right? Okay, Cave. And Judges is the company that makes them? Sorry for the morsel by morsel questioning, but I'm so unfamiliar with these. Just want to get the information right. So Judges makes both of these. That's the Breather and that's Cave. Is that correct? Scott the Pied Piper is in the house. Hi guys. Okay, thank you, Art. I'm there. Now I can at least search them. So Judges Cave, Judges Breather. Okay. So when I lit it up, I didn't expect to enjoy it, I must be honest, especially since you said that they were machine made. And I have to be honest with you, I haven't had a lot of experience with machine made cigars, but the ones that I've had, I've generally been pretty impressed with them. And I don't know if there's an intentional lessening of quality of the leaf with machine made cigars, but I've not really had any major issues. I used to smoke when I went through a period in my 20s or late 20s or early 30s when I smoked the Villager. You know, although I wasn't really a major smoker, I may have only smoked like 1 5-pack or 2 5-packs. The yellow boxes with the square cut, the box, which I now know is called box press, but they're a square cigar, and they were wrapped in paper. Anybody remember those? You can probably still get them. I wouldn't know. Well, the aroma is really weird, unless these are like a unbelievable Maduro where they've got amazing sweetness. Either that or they've been sitting with a cigar which was infused. The only other thing I can think of was that maybe this bag was used for something else previously. But my nose is telling me that it's infused. And it tasted very sweet as well. Oh, I'll get in touch with them. Eric, I hope good things were said in your chat with the Sarge when you were talking about me, because my ears are pricking up. Well, I was very fortunate to get some 5100 from Harriet. I got some from Maui a while back as well, which I've been using. I'll probably leave it there for a while until I need it, until I've finished the open stuff that I've already got. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, 5100. Oh, you're right. 5110. Ooh, I stand corrected. I don't know what that is. Anybody know what this is? What kind of tobacco that is, 5110? $51.10 Harriet. So what is it? What kind of tobacco is it? What genre? Now that's a new one on me then. Ooh, so it's going to be Latakia. Well, that will have to wait. Yeah, absolutely. It must be the dyslexic in me. I'm not dyslexic, by the way. But sometimes your mind does play tricks. Sometimes I literally stumble when I talk, and I feel that I am dyslexic sometimes. Right here, Art. The reason why it's not in your cup and it's in this one was because I was out in the garage and I wanted to keep it hot. Virginia lover indeed. I will do I'm going to be doing a VR to this guy. You guys should check him out. He's an English channel which he started reasonably recently, but he's doing a giveaway, a 250 subs giveaway. His name is Uncle Phil's Cellar, and he's got some cracking, you almost feel like not telling you about it because I want to win it. He's got some cracking prizes in his giveaway. That's Uncle Phil over there. Uncle Phil's Cellar, his channel is. Check him out. And he's got some fantastic tobacco in there. He's got some Dark Star from 2007, I think he said it was. I wonder if he knows the value of that. So he's got some Dark Star. He's got an original Ogden's gold, what's it called? From 1970s, gold block, the original one. What else has he got there? He's got some Squadron Leader. He's got some great, I think he's got 3 or 4 regular tins, and he's got 2 or 3 aged tins. Definitely getting on there, worth getting on. He's got Condor as well, yeah, long cut. And you can just say I'm in on the comments, and that'll give you an entry, or you can do a VR, and that'll give you 4 entries. So that's yeah, Clan as well, Tree. Hi Ryan. So while we're talking, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to mix up some London Fog. Yeah, I don't think I've ever smoked Clan, or if I have, it was many, many years ago, before I really started smoking. Northwoods does rock indeed. Right, so we're going to get some Virginia Woods. Still have some of that somewhere. So we've got some Virginia Woods. Yes, Ryan, I did. I think I did. Yeah, you told me you had the same problem as the other guy. Orlick. Hey James, Jim, how you doing? Actually, I'm not sure I'm going to be doing this now. This is the only Orlick I've got left. I need to get some regular Orlick. This is an aged tin. I had 2 of these, and I used the first one to make my first ever London Fog. Now, if you remember, the first London Fog was made with one of these aged Orlicks, and also an aged tin of Virginia Woods. That one was from 2003, I think. So both of them were aged. But I've got to be honest, recently, you know, I did this is what I've got left of the regular Fog, which is the split of I think it's 60% Orlick and 40% Virginia Woods. This is the one that I pressed. I'm nearly finished that now as well. And this is Fog, which is Virginia Woods, only golden sliced, and a little bit of Amphora Virginia, just to add a little bit of sweetness. But I must be honest, and this was the one I pressed for a couple of weeks. Just see if it's got a different aroma. I think this one has got a better aroma. The one with the Amphora does have a better aroma. But I must be honest, I smoked the regular fog and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I smoked it this evening. I smoked 2 bowls of it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So when I do mix the next one, I'm not sure that I'm even going to bother pressing it. I'm not sure that it enhances it. And it's all about experimentation and seeing what you like. But yeah, so I think I'm not going to use this. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep this for a later date. This one is also different to the Orlick from nowadays. I think this one had Virginia and Burley. Yeah, it says so. This delightful blend is composed of golden and full-bodied Virginia tobacco with a touch of Burley. A fine natural sweetness in both taste and aroma, and I would absolutely agree with that. The current one, I think, doesn't have Burley, and I think it has a touch of Perique, if I'm not mistaken. And it might be that the current one is better for London Fog. On its own, this one might be fine as it is, and it being aged, it would be fantastic. The difficulty is that this stuff is finite. That's my problem. Is using this stuff up. That is my problem. Because once it's gone, as they say. Now, I might still be lucky. I mean, there's obviously thousands of tins out there with people. You know, people have got the stuff. I'm sure that there's thousands of tins out there of all of their stuff. You know, there's people out there hoarding, you know, countless tins. But it's getting people to agree to part with them. And I wouldn't blame them if they didn't, because I wouldn't want to part with them. Which is all the more surprising that Uncle Phil's seller is willing to part with that tin of Dark Star. The sign of a good cigar. I haven't touched the cigar for 5, 7, 8 minutes, and it's still alight. The sign of an excellent cigar. Yes, there's some Dark Star selling in the US at the moment on eBay. I think it's about $130, $140. I would swap some of my... I've got some really aged... if somebody's interested, I've got some very aged Levin pipes, the original McClellands, before McClelland started doing it themselves. You guys have probably seen it. This stuff. This is from 1992. Got 2 tins of this. This is Levin Pipes British Woods. And I know this is worth a fair bit of money, but I would swap this for some tins for some Virginia Woods or something similar. Perhaps not 1 tin for 1 tin, unless the Virginia Woods was old as well. But I would certainly work a trade of some kind. Yeah, a year and a half ago, I probably wouldn't have raved about Virginia Woods. I doubt it very much. I probably raved about it about 9-10 months ago. The McNeil's didn't sell it. I think they were fairly clear on why. And that is that the tobacco that they used is just not available anymore, and the type of quality tobacco just isn't there. Yeah, your Dark Star will sell. Depends how old it is, pipes. I mean, the average price for the 100-gram tins on eBay in America, I think, is around the $80 or $90, which is about yeah. Well, that's, you'll sell that for that kind of money. Dark Star, you should be able to get $100 for, I would have thought. I think I've got a drop left of mine. I had a really old tin of it, and I should still have a little bit left. But it is quite difficult to prepare. It's quite a tough tobacco, which presumably is a result of the processing method. I can get it out if you want to see it. Anybody interested? I'll try to find it if anybody wants to have a look at it. Alright. Top tip, Barnegat blend. Try some of that. Thank you, Art, for that. And Art, don't think I've forgotten. I have not forgotten. When you least expect it. So this is the Dark Star. This is in my Tupperware with my open tins. 2003. So that's got some good years on it. And there's probably about an ounce left. Let's just put some on the tray. I know, Art, I know. Oh, I didn't know you could zoom in when you're live. Coolio. It's black as night. It really is. And it's very tough. It's like old leather. And it doesn't rub out. It doesn't, I mean, this stuff, you just need to break it up as small as you can. It looks like charcoal, but it doesn't lend itself to rubbing out. It's just like a sticky, it's not sticky to touch, but it's just a very unusual presentation, a very unusual sort of feel to it. You bend it, it breaks, it snaps. It's not soft in any way, it's like twigs, almost. So that's your Dark Star. It does burn very slow, quite right, pipes. But it has a very nice flavour. It's very smooth, very easygoing. I would liken it to something like Best Brown from Samuel Goeth. No bite whatsoever, but it's not necessarily a tobacco that I would run after, because there's lots of smooth Virginia tobaccos out there. But what I would run after is stuff like Christmas Cheer. Even 40th anniversary now. I think if I had the choice between Christmas Cheer and 40th, I think I'd go for Christmas Cheer. Anybody with me on that? Yes, Ryan, I agree. I was just making a comment though, an observation that if you had to choose, so for me, I would go for probably for a Christmas chair. Obviously, with some age. The truth is, I'm actually being quite fickle because the 40th has only just been released. Well, not just, but it was released at the end of 2017. So if I compare it to, say, this one, sorry, somebody had asked me before how old this one. This one is from 2016. So the Christmas chair, the one that for me is still the benchmark, is the 2014, and that one is just so beautiful and spicy and mouth-filling. Whereas the 40th is only just been released, so I'm being a bit silly really. Give it 3 or 4 years, it will probably be just as good, if not better, because it's already great now. So really and truly, I'm being a little bit silly. I haven't tasted anything further back in 2014. I'd love to get my hands on some older stuff. I can't imagine how great that would be. The ones I've had, I've mentioned it before on my channel, I've had 2014, 2016, 2017 and 40th. Yeah, it is difficult, Lurch. Thank you for joining. So the 2016 is, in my view, better than the 17, but I suppose that would follow the same logic as I've just been talking about. It's going to have an extra year on it. But they did have they are different vintages. They're like wine. I wouldn't necessarily say this about other tobaccos, but I would say it about Cuban cigars, and I would say it about McClellands, because the Christmas cheers, they have subtle differences, and they really are like vintages. And that takes me back to the original point that Art was making about why they didn't sell their recipes. Yeah, somebody else said that to me, Art, about if you would like something and then can't get it. I'm not sure that's, I mean, perhaps you're saying it in jest, but I don't agree with that. You know, if I had the opportunity to drive a Ferrari and say, well, I'm not going to drive it in case I like it, and then know that I can't get one because I can't afford it, I'd rather have the experience and then know that I've had the experience and savor it, you know, cherish it. And it's the same with, you know, other tobaccos which are difficult to get. You know, you get a bit of Penzance, enjoy it, and you know, hopefully you're all the better for it. But I understand where you're coming from. You had a Ferrari, right? Okay. You probably repaired the gearbox on it. I've not had the pleasure yet of driving any of the Italian stallions. Right, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me just for 1 minute. I need to go and meet the Queen. Bear with me. I wish it was a hearing aid. Sometimes, I tell you, my hearing is ridiculously bad. Sometimes I'm talking to my kids and I keep telling them to repeat stuff. Not just because they're not speaking clearly. We have a bit of a wavy burn. Yes, that's why I showed it. I was reading back. Thanks, Jeff. Right, so what's news otherwise? Don't know. Redstone Piper is in the house. Hi. This is another one I want to get converted. It's a Les Wood pipe. Nice poker. Turns out this is a series. I was trying to find out what this was for. And this is a series he did in the millennium for the year 2000. Apparently he did 25 of them, or maybe 250. I can't remember what somebody posted about it. But I would like to get this one converted. He's got a really nice style of rustication, actually. Art bought a Bulldog from me. That's actually a fantastic smoker. I don't know if you smoke it, Art, but I certainly enjoyed smoking it. I had a great smooth draw, and I'm just pleased it went to somebody like Art. I really like his rustication. Do I like Peterson pipes? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me because I had a beautiful one. You've all heard me lament about its demise in the past. But I'm not a Peterson fan as a rule. Some people really love them. If any of you guys have seen Peace Piper, Nathaniel, the Israeli guy, I recently sent him a 1970s Shape 999 Peterson, and that's got a hand it's hand rusticated, and he's been looking for a pipe like that for a long time, and I was really lucky to find one on eBay, old stock, unsmoked, so he was over the moon with it. But he loves Petersons. He's got that one and he's got another one, a different shape, slightly different, and he absolutely loves them. So some people really do love them. Well, obviously a lot of people love them because there's thousands of them out there. You off then, Murray? Cheers, Jeff. Have a great one. Congrats on your giveaway. Yeah, I heard that smoking that Peterson was selling off. Cheers, Maui. Nice to speak to you again. Hope we'll see you more regularly. Enjoy your break. How was that Willem cigar there, Tree? The only reason why I don't like Peterson's is virtually every single one that I've tried. It's not that I've tried loads, but I've tried a few, and all of them didn't give me a good smoke, and they gurgled. I suppose I ought to try a straight Peterson. I didn't really like the P-lip, but even the fantail ones, I should really try a straight one. I did have a tankard for a short while. I sold that on one of my sales early on. I don't think I've smoked a Dr. Gravo yet, Gail. Danny sent me a couple, but they're not filtered pipes. So that'll probably find its way into somebody's package one day. He sent me this one. It's brand new, very cute, nice small bowl, acorn shape. Got a few fills here and there, but that's what you'd expect. It's probably quite a vintage pipe, this one. Hey, I didn't even look inside. This takes a 6mm filter, I guess. Or is it 4mm? What would you call that? Oh, maybe I will try this then. So I think I've got some of these filters. Yeah, the fishtail. I meant the fishtail when I said the fantail. I can't put my hands on them right now, but I do have some of them. If Costello would do a 9mm pipe, I would definitely strive to get one of them. But they don't do a 9mm, and it doesn't sound like they've got any intentions to. I spoke to them, I phoned them up in Italy, and they said that they don't do any. If you're going 9mm, yeah, Nirop is an excellent option. Savinelli. Depends on your budget, really. You can get some lovely Chacon pipes, Stanwell pipes. You've been to the car boots again there, Pipe Tree? Yeah, the Dr. Pearl Juniors so far for me have been the best as well, Art. I've looked at many Vaughan pipes, I've yet to pull the trigger on one. Don't know why. There's something in me which, I don't know why, maybe it's a preconception, but I just, in my mind they're a lower end pipe, but I think I'm probably talking rubbish. They're not cheap, the Costellos, but you can pick them up at reasonable prices, estate ones, especially the older ones. You can get the Ciroc ones at fairly reasonable prices. I can't comment on the smokability of them, but they certainly look fantastic. It's interesting to see how different carving houses or pipe makers, they have a certain look, and it's obviously they have their own style, but the briar has a certain. If you look at Jim Boswell's pipes, for instance, his smooth pipes, the briar has got a certain quality to the grain. Obviously, it's to do with how he sands it and how he stains it as well, but they've all got a similar look, regardless of the shape of the pipe. Just how the stain finishes, how the grain interacts and it contrasts with the rest of the briar. You look at Costello, again, you'll see a really pure kind of looking briar, a very bright coloured briar, and they obviously, again, it's to do with their staining, but I do find that some different companies, the briar, they obviously source them from different places. It's just interesting. It's just an observation. Yeah, Boswell pipes are chunky. They look chunky because they are chunky, generally speaking. That's Boswell's signature look. You know, he cuts them chunky, but they smoke fantastically well. I'm a big fan of Boswell pipes, and I'm still waiting to convert a couple of those. I don't know what's weird, why you think the chamber is weird. It's just got a very tapered shape to it. Over the 3 years or so, I've probably had close on to 10 Boswell pipes. I'm left with about 4. And I don't think I've had a single Boswell pipe that didn't smoke well. And I only parted with the ones that I've parted with because they weren't 9mm. And the ones that I've kept, I've either tried to sell and not sold, or I've been too attached to them and hoping that one day I'll be able to convert them. The one which I've probably smoked the most, well, there's 2 actually, and they both used for Northwoods for the most part. This is one of the early Boswells that I got, and I smoked English blends in this, mostly Northwoods. Chunky monkey, but this is eminently convertible. It'll just need a new stem. Well, it could be chopped there, I suppose, and a new one, 9mm peg put on there. But it's easy enough to get a new stem and just drill that wider. There's plenty length there, so I could easily convert this one. But I once made a mistake with this pipe, and I used a jet lighter. It's a very comfortable clencher, and look what I did to the top there. I wrecked the top rim, but it smokes very, very well. That's the one and only time that I used a jet lighter, and I haven't since. And the other one, which was a real favourite pipe of mine, is this little bent apple. I haven't smoked it for a long, long time, but very nice grain on it. And this one is well used. Absolutely love smoking this. Well, Andy, the first thing to do is to get a handle that we can all pronounce. Just kidding. What's your budget there, Andy? I haven't got a Radice yet. Would like to get one of those as well. The Italian houses are just fantastic. Yeah, Andy, I was just kidding. No offense. I used to like the poker shape. Derek, thank you for joining. I used to like the poker shape, and I still do. As you can see, we've got this Leswood sitting here, but it'd need to be a, excuse me, a fairly lightweight poker. I find that pokers tend to be quite heavy, and they're also going to be bowl heavy. They're going to be heavy at the front, which is going to play havoc with your center of gravity around your face. If you're going up to £100, I assume, Andy, you're here in the UK. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I'd love to go to Boswell's Art. I tell you, if I would get to the States any time in the future, I think it would be awesome. There's so many places to go to in the States, but I would certainly want to go to the Boswells and perhaps do a meetup and get the old anybody who's nearby to come down there. That would be awesome. So Andy, if you're talking about £100, you've got plenty of options. You've really got plenty of options. Have you been smoking a pipe long? What have you smoked? Yeah, Stanwell is. I've really got to liking Stanwell pipes, and that's because of this pipe here. It smokes so sweetly. Yeah, but for £100, you know, you've really got plenty of options. You could get a Northern Briars. You need to wait a little bit for that. If you're talking about a UK carver, Blakemar Briars, as Quaker correctly says, is a fantastic option. You can go to Blakemar Briars. I don't know how far away you are. You're in Kent, so it's a little bit of maybe a couple of hours drive. But he's got basket pipes there for less than £20. And those are hand-carved pipes by him. For whatever reason, they're seconds, I don't know, but they smoke fine. Yeah, it's a good pipe, that Stanwell. It's not a true army mount, but it's what you'd call a faux army mount. It's a 9mm. This is a 2002 Pipe of the Year from Stanwell. Lovely rustication. It just got a beautiful smooth draw. It sits beautifully in the mouth. It's got a lovely shape. It's just a nice pipe all around. It ticks a lot of boxes. I'm currently in the process of deciding who I'm ordering a pipe from next, and I want to order one from one of the Artisan pipes in the US. I've spent a fair bit of money recently here in the UK, so I kind of decided I want to do the next one from the US. And the guy that I'm probably going to order from is a guy called, I can't remember his first name. Is it Steve Morissette? Is it Steve? You guys familiar with him? Yeah, so he's I really like the look of his work. So I'm going to be saving up a little bit of cash and hopefully getting a custom pipe made. And he says he will do 9mm. So far, that's kind of been the stumbling block for me, is I've not been able to get a 9mm pipe in the US from any of the carvers. Although having said that, I have seen occasionally Paul Menard turn out a 9mm pipe. But I've had a fair few of his pipes, and I just wanted to order from somebody else. I wanted to order from Dr. Bob Keys. Don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not. I got in touch with him as well. But he considered whether or not he could do 9mm, but he came back to me and he said that he can't. Or at least he's not geared up for it. I absolutely love his hawkbills. I've yet to get a hawkbill, a 9mm hawkbill. And it's a shape that I want to get. But it doesn't lend itself, because of the bend in it, it doesn't lend itself to 9mm filters. You can get some, but they're not as nice. What are you smoking these days, Derek? Have you continued your quest on McClelland matches? Cheers, Quaker. Have a good evening. Catch you next time. All right. So the Garth and Hogarth stuff tends to be quite heavy. Tree, that's very generous. I know I'm going to sound a bit ungrateful, but only if it's unsmoked. No offense, but because of the price, I'd rather just have one from scratch. They're not expensive. Ordinarily, I'd bite your hand off, obviously, for a pipe, but the stems are what, £15. Two-wheel couch. Is that you on IG as well? Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like your pictures. No, Andy, you can buy tobacco in shops these days, but it's just in closed cupboards, unless you're going to somewhere like St James's Street, where you could still see some of it in a display cabinets, stuff like that. I mean, the average newsagent or store like Sainsbury's or Asda, that kind of thing, they won't have them on display, but they will have. You'd be surprised if you ask them if they got any pipe tobacco. They'll usually have half a dozen OTC blends. You'll usually find Clan, Condor, St. Bruno. You'll probably find some Special Virginia from B&H, which I've been smoking recently. Definitely worthwhile asking. I think there's still a fair few closet pipe smokers here in the UK, because the supermarkets, they still stock it. And although you very rarely see pipe smokers out and about, you will find them. Try your next time you go to Asda or Sainsbury's, Tesco's, just ask them, have you got any pipe tobacco? Yeah, I mean, if you want to get in the UK, there's no shortage of online purveyors of excellent tobacco. You've got GQ Tobaccos, you've got My Smoking Shop, you've got Gauntleys, you've got Smoke King, you've got I can't remember. There's plenty. Just do a search on online tobacconist UK, and they'll all come up. I haven't actually tried the present iteration of Gold Block. I don't really know what the old one was like, to be honest. I'm trying to remember if I tried Condor. St. Bruno, I've got an open pack of St. Bruno. It didn't really take my fancy at the time, but I guess I'll try it again at some point. No, it'll be my. It's. I don't think there's a smoking pipes in the UK. There's a website called My Smoking Shop. Hang on, I'll do a quick search. Right, so you've got Smoke King, which is smoke-king.co.uk. uktobacco.com, I would possibly avoid that one. Hang on, let me just check which one it is. No, maybe that one's okay. There is one out there who claims to have in stock Penzance and all of the difficult tobaccos that you can get, but only sells them in bulk. And I think that's a dodgy site. Oh, to ship to the UK? Yeah, Smoking Pipes, I think does, yeah. So you've got My Smoking Shop, you've got Johnny's Tobacconist, you've got Cigars Limited, you've got The Backy Shop, and there's no shortage, just do a search. Yeah, Chris, most tobaccos that Ogden's made and are now made by other companies like McLaren would have been better with the original versions. It's usually the case anyway with most things. Not always, but most things. That's cool, Gail. Yeah, I've heard that as well about St. Bruno, that it's better in flake form. I'm a sucker for a flake anyway, I just prefer it. I like the presentation of a flake or of a medallion. Anything which is not rubbed out, I prefer to the ready rubbed versions. And I don't know if that's just a visual aesthetic thing, or if it's I've actually subconsciously seen a better result in the taste. I don't know. But it's probably part of the ritual, breaking it up as you prefer to have it. And I've said many times that I'm not so much into the ritual, but without realizing it subconsciously, I think I actually am. Because I recently talked about the matches, about lighting cigar pipes with a match, which I really enjoy doing these days. And I'm also talking about preparing flakes and medallions and things like that. So I think that without realizing it, I probably am into the ritual. Yeah, he's a very well regarded blender, Russ. Gil, if you want some Penzance, you got to work hard for that. There was a time when I had an open 8-ounce bag, which I was happy to give out to people, but I don't have that anymore. That's gone. I've got a few dregs left in a jar, so that's very rarely smoked. And I was just fortunate enough to win a single tin from Old Berg's recent giveaway, so I'm looking forward to getting that. But I'm not in a position to send any out, I'm afraid. No, not great pants. Zen pants. Andy, are you inhaling the pipes, or not? That's cool. Penzance grape. Explain, please. I'm intrigued. Low on smokers in the house. So is somebody going to tell me what grape Penzance or Penzance grape is? Or is this just an in-joke which I'm not in? Oh, my coffee's finished. Okay, I obviously missed out on this, but yeah. Penzance and Captain Black grape. Seriously? I mean, that's just, I agree, that's blasphemy. And clearly somebody who's got too much Penzance on their hands. Harriet, seriously? I mean, there's experimentation and there's just pure wastefulness. Maybe it could be one of the prizes on your giveaway there, on your raffle, Harriet. So Derek, Gareth Hogarth, what would you recommend? I tend to go for the Samuel Gareth blends. What would you recommend for somebody who likes McClelland's nice spicy Virginias? Which of their blends would you recommend? They're pretty pokey, aren't they, the twists? Are you talking about stuff like Double X? Dark Flake. That's not Rich Dark Flake, is it? No, Rich Dark Flake is Jermaine's, isn't it? I'll have to try some of those. Sweet Maple Twist. Is that what it sounds like, an aromatic? Okay, all right. Perhaps I'll have a look those up and I'll get a couple of those and try them out. I know that he's been smoking Double X quite a bit. The very Reverend Stephen Waters, Cobbett of the Shire. That's the one. He's been smoking Double X and really enjoying it, but he says it's very strong. It's got a heavy nick hit. Well, I like their Samuel Garrett's Best Brown, and I like the Full Virginia Flake, but they're quite mild for my palate. I think a Best Brown is a little bit monotone as well, not very complex. Full Virginia Flake is, but also in a very mild way. I find that Full Virginia Flake, you have to sort of really sit down and focus on it and be relaxed and just in a very chilled state of mind to really appreciate the nuances of the levels of complexity. Kind of the planets have to align for Full Virginia Flake for me to work. Yeah, I mean, aging certainly will help. But you need time for that. There isn't a magic button for aging, is there? Yes, Art, you're quite right. If only we'd all do what we're supposed to do. Yes, Ryan, that's actually a good example of a spicy mix, cabbage mixture. It is quite spicy, that one, actually. I'm interested to know, Ryan, if you've got some which is aged, whether that smooths off a little bit. I find that the fresh-ish cabbage mixture can be a little bit harsh. Oh yes, there is a great magazine, Pipes and Tobacco. You can get it from Danish Pipe Shop. It's an American magazine, but a very, very nice. It's a nice magazine. I enjoy reading it. When I say harsh, I don't mean bitter or anything like that. I just find that it's got this edge to it, which doesn't agree with me. Maybe harsh is the wrong word, but it just feels like it needs to smooth off a little bit, despite the fact that I say that I like spicy stuff, but it's got this edge to it which is just not hitting my palate as well as I'd like it to. Oh, seriously, you don't have to. You've sent me too much already. If you want to see the full Virginia flake, this one has been in since January. Nice lid there with the Union Jack. The aroma of the flake is quite a deep stewed fruit. It's got a little bit of sugar forming on, a little bit of it's glinting a little bit. That's quite a nice mottled flake. Don't know why my thing is a little bit overexposed at the moment. But there are some nicer tin notes out there. Not the best tin note, the full Virginia flake, but it does smoke very nicely. Cheers, Josh. I didn't realise there was one online of that magazine. One of my favourite things to read, and I've read it so many times, is when I went to that sale of the Azrati sale, going back, I don't know how long ago it was now. It must be knocking on for a year ago already. One of my favourite things I picked up there was an old catalogue. This is a catalogue from 2002. And I just read it and read it and read it, and in actual fact I use it to look up estate pipes. So I look at the pipes here and see the kind of pipes that I like, and then search them to see if I can find them in estate form. And I've had some successes. Cheers, Harriet, thanks for joining. And the prices on these are just awesome. But that was going back a good number of years ago. But some of them are quite pricey, but some of them really not. I mean, look at this Stanwell, $42. I mean, ridiculous prices. And some of them are still going strong, some of the shapes. And this one is still going strong, the Vario, $25. Got the Zebranos, which are still going. $35, come on. That's awesome. The high grades went for some decent money. You got here for $200. Winslow pipes. I mean, they were already going for silly money. Look at that, $500. That's required. $28, $27. I've got a Mirage. A Mirage was my first ever pipe, which I bought in Cigar and Snuff in Covent Gardens. I think I paid £50 for it. Oh, I see, right, okay. Cheers, Redstone. A lot of Butts Requirement pipes. Castleford, that's a make I've been seeking. I've not found any yet. It's supposed to be a good English pipe. And this is more of the run-of-the-mill stuff, you know, $9, $17. I mean, this is a catalogue, but it's just got a huge array of pipes, and I just like looking at it for inspiration. Big Ben, you see the Big Ben, like the stubby ones that Alpazio sell. What are they called? What are those little stubby pipes called? Good night, Art. Thanks very much. I can't remember what they're called, but Big Ben do similar stuff. These ones, they're still selling these ones. We've got some K Woodies here. $11, $10. Got a flame grain for 24. I had a beautiful flame grain K Woody. Yeah, they are nose warmers, but they have a specific name. I can't remember what they're called. Very nice pipes. I can't remember. I can go online and have a look. It's very easy to talk about the pipes that you once had. I remember I've got a relative who's a real estate investor, and he went through some changes of fortune. He's up there, he's okay, but he went through a time when he had some really high grade properties in the centre of London, and now literally would be going for millions and millions of pounds, and he sold them when he was obviously in need to sell properties. And he always says, oh yeah, I had that property and I had that property, but I do the same with pipes. The Pipes and Tobacco magazine is where I heard of Steve Morissette and Dr. Bob. Each I think they release a magazine 4 times a year, is that right? And each time they feature 1 or 2 pipe makers. And they do a really nice article. They really go into the history of the guy and how he got into the business. I might have asked you before, Ryan, are you based in the States? All right. Who makes Wessex tobaccos? Derek, are you still on? I wanted to ask you something about the twists. Collas and Cop, right, okay. Yeah, they do get about a bit. Right. I wanted to ask about twist tobaccos. I've not had them before, but do you generally just chop them up into medallions and then rub them out, or you just chop off a chunk and just rub it out? What do people usually do with twists and ropes and that kind of thing? I guess Derek's not there anymore. I think this is as good a time as any to say goodbye. My coffee's finished, my cigar's almost finished. So, here we go. I cut about half an inch thick piece and rub it out. My girl hardly needs a little drag time, but are quite lovely. Okay. Well, I think it's something I'm going to try because I've not done that yet. So it'll certainly be something interesting to try out and perhaps do a couple of videos on. So, for tonight, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. Thank you, Ryan, Pipes, etc. Gail, Lurch, Ennerdale Flake. Yeah, it's actually quite nice. It's not one of the. It's not one of the really. Andy, thank you. It's not one of the really heavy Lakelands. I find it to be more of a fruity. More like a fruity marzipan-y kind of flavour. Perhaps not something that I would smoke on a regular basis, but it's nice enough. It's not as bad as some of the real Lakelands. I don't Twitter. I do Facebook. Search Simon Bosco. And I put out pretty much the same as what I put out on IG. So if you follow me on IG, you'll pretty much get the same output. When I post the picture on IG, I usually post it on Facebook. And on Facebook, I post usually to 3 groups, and that's it. Otherwise, it gets ridiculous. Talked about that recently in a video about how much time we spend on social media. There was a post somebody put up. It created quite a stir about people getting fed up of seeing multiple posts. But that's why I try to keep it to a minimum for my sake and for other people's sake. But Bosco with a K, Bosko. So Redstone, Piper, Tree, Lurch, Harriet, I think she's gone already, Ryan, Andy, Mike, Josh, Derek, and everybody else that joined, Law and Smoke. Thank you very much once again. Been a very pleasant discussion, very much enjoyed, and I will look forward to meeting you all again on the next one. Wish you all a fantastic rest of the weekend. Catch you on the next one. Cheers, Latex.